The Wraith in the Woods. I should have listened to the old man at the bait shop. He said, "Those woods ain't right after sundown. Something out there don't like company." He had this haunted look in his eyes, like he was reliving a nightmare he could never wake up from. I figured he was just trying to scare off dumb city kids like me. Still, I laughed, bought my gear, and headed off with two friends, Mason and Drew, into the dense Black Hollow forest. The plan was simple: camp overnight, hike to the summit by morning, and post some cool pics online to show off. What could go wrong, right? The forest looked perfectly normal in daylight, peaceful even. Tall pines, chirping birds, and a breeze that smelled like pine needles and damp earth. But once the sun dipped behind the horizon, that peace shattered. We pitched our tents near an old hunting shack that looked like it hadn't been touched since the 70s. Cobwebbed windows, rusted tools hanging from the walls, and the faint smell of mold and iron in the air. We laughed about how creepy it looked and dared each other to peek inside. Mason, ever the show-off, kicked open the door and stepped in. There was a cot, a broken lantern, and what looked like deep claw marks gouged into the wooden floor. Still, we chalked it up to an animal, maybe a bear, maybe. As the night crept in, the temperature plummeted. The air became heavy and still. No wind, no night birds. The crickets fell silent, like someone had hit a universal mute button. The only sound was our own nervous breathing and the occasional crack of twigs under our feet when we moved. We sat around the fire, but the flames didn't feel warm. They flickered erratically, casting twitching shadows on the trees around us. The trees, they looked like they'd moved. Closer, like a dozen watchers leaning in. Mason swore he saw something behind a tree. I shined my flashlight and caught a glimpse of something. It moved like a person but was too tall, its limbs too long, its face too pale, too many teeth. Its eyes sunk deep into its skull, black and gleaming. We froze, then it was gone, just like that. We wanted to leave, but the path we came in on, it was gone. Just trees, endless trees. We thought we were panicking, seeing things. We tried to backtrack, but every direction looked the same. The forest was looping on itself. The more we walked, the more everything around us twisted. The trees warped subtly. Some leaned unnaturally. Others looked scorched, even though there was no sign of fire before. It felt like the forest was changing with us inside it. Then Drew screamed. Something had grabbed him. When we turned, he was gone. Just gone. No footprints, no rustling, just silence. A kind of silence that felt alive. We ran. Mason tripped and hit his head on a rock. I dragged him to his feet, but he kept muttering, "It's inside my head, it's in here," over and over. Then he stopped talking. He stared at me blankly, eyes unfocused. Then he walked off into the woods like he didn't know me. I tried to follow, but I couldn't find him. The whispers came back, closer, louder. They started sounding like my name. I ran. I don't know how long, hours maybe. I tripped more times than I can count. My clothes were shredded by thorns, and I could hear that thing or things following me. Heavy breathing, low growls, unintelligible chattering that made my stomach twist. The worst part was the feeling, this crushing sense of hopelessness, like the forest wanted me to give up, like it fed off fear and confusion. I started hallucinating. I saw Mason's face in the trees. Drew's voice called out from behind rocks. My flashlight flickered and died, and in the pitch black I heard the whispering right next to my ear. I screamed and stumbled backward, hitting something cold and wooden. It was the old shack. I had somehow circled back. I locked myself inside and stayed there until dawn. The whispers never came in. They circled, scratched the outside, breathed at the windows, but never entered. Somehow I found the bait shop again. I stumbled in at dawn, covered in dirt and blood. The old man didn't say anything, just handed me a blanket and locked the door behind me. I think he knew. Search teams went out for 2 weeks. They found a crushed phone, some torn fabric, and Mason's hat soaked in something dark. That's it. I haven't slept right since. Sometimes I wake up to those same whispers. Sometimes I see that tall figure in my backyard, just standing. Have you ever found yourself hopelessly lost, confused, and feeling like you were being watched? Beware, because there are terrifying and mysterious creatures that few have ever seen and lived to talk about. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more. Join us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky for more bone-chilling chronicles, if you dare.